what we actually failed to do was that, since, you know, why we didn't touch the other part of the funnel, like you said, where we know that, okay, we want, at the end of the day, what we want is for people to actually pay, to actually use the product. But why we didn't really touch that part is that we can't test everything at the same time. We can't, you know, solve all the problems at once. Where was the biggest bottleneck? That's what we focused on, and we feel, and we know that if we can fix the people that are coming from, you know, the visitors turning to leads, and then doing trial, we can get them to actually pay. Because at the end of the funnel, bottom funnel, we can see that we're actually making profits even with the amount of leaks that we're having. So that means when people try the product, at least we're having a good number of them paying for it. So that means if you can fix the top of the funnel to make sure that people that are coming to the site without even testing the product, they actually have the chance to test the product, try the product, we have a higher chance of getting them to convert. So that's why we focus more on the top of the funnel.
All right, no problem. Is everyone still? Does you have any questions for them?
Hi, Palumi. Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
Firstly,
awesome.
yeah, I have to apologize for joining late. Esther, apologies. I was working with an hour. I've forgotten that there's now like an hour difference between us. So, apologies. Um, I'm going through because I joined when Shoma was presenting. So I'm going through the slides also because I missed like the first three slides. So I'm going through it and then I'll give a more comprehensive because I missed the early part of the presentation. So like in maybe 5 minutes, I'll just go through it and drop my assessment on it.
Okay. Okay. In that time frame, right? So one of the things I need you guys to like look at or think about is when you have briefs like this, no matter how small, like yes, you are not going to have a lot of time, but that's where your slides come in. So always have as much information as possible in your slides. You may not have time to present all of it, but always have them there. So the market research is not limited to your benchmark figures. For example, it's a what are other people in that space doing, and there are competitors in that space already. So you know what are they doing? What are the things you can take from there and leverage? Then when you're analyzing your funnel reports, right? Like I mentioned, you more or less stopped at like clicks and then went from clicks to LTV before we then started talking about the trial, booking the trial, which of course is lead generation. But you need to have like an end-to-end point, right? So clicks are fine, impressions are fine, but at the end of the day, the business thrives on what brings value. So you have to focus on that constantly. Then on creativity and general insightfulness, right? You have to look at it from a so number one, that's where that market research part would come in normally. So that other people doing, right? How has that worked? And I can bet you probably find a case study about a competitor or something close and pull that together and say, okay, fine, if they did this to achieve this and this and this, what can we A, take from there, or B, what can we modify from there to make it better? Or C, these people did trash. So what can we do differently to bring better results? And all those things are things that you have to like constantly have at the back of your mind when you're doing this presentations and briefs like this. You have to constantly think about that. That being said, it's not a bad idea. It's not a what's it called? I think it could be better. Because of course I've seen your work in the different classes that we took. Victor's in particular, I think it could be better. Um, sorry, and Daniel rather. But at the end of the day, we basically have to make sure that what we put down speaks for us. So that being said, group 2, are you ready?
But Pelumi, before group two starts theirs, let me just give my feedback. I've gone through the first four slides that I missed.
No.
So yeah, Pelumi, you've addressed everything regarding this. I just want to highlight like two important things, and I think I'll start from the creativity, the coordination, and the time management part. That's that was poor. Usually, before you make presentation, you practice these presentations, and if you're also presenting a slide, because I noticed that's what most I find most people make that mistake, which is you're presenting a slide, and of course, it covers the entire screen, and you don't even get to see the time. Have a timer beside you to know how far you've gone. If not, you are most likely going to either exceed the time or underutilize the time that you've been assigned. So in that way, it's easy for you to keep up because yeah, some people will share slides when they start sharing their screen, they obviously don't see the time on their laptop. So having a timer beside you helps to make sure you are very much on time. Another part Pelumi have mentioned, which I don't want to like hammer too much on it, is the part of um like competitors analysis, like what are the things others are doing currently that is great, what are the things that is not so good, sort of like a competitor metrics to see, because most times people do competitor metrics and it turns out to be, oh, competitors are not doing enough. But again, there are some competitor metrics that gives you insight that these guys are actually doing fantastic and we can borrow from this idea they are doing and execute it better and some of that. So there was no much in-depth research on competitors, on what competitors are doing good, especially that can be used or can be borrowed in your own framework, your analysis, and your recommendations. So those are the two things I'm going to highlight. But overall, it was good. I like I think it was Daniel that mentioned you cannot talk about your selling a product to your audience when there is like a high drop of they've not even gotten to the point of like trying out the product. They are already dropping off once they visit without even going to try it out. So that was a good insight that you highlighted, which means you know what the major problem is and then you have a better way to addressing it. Yeah, that's it. That's it from my end. The next group can. But well done, guys. Well done,
Okay.
generally.
Sorry, please, can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Should.
All right. So my question is, from the data sets we're given, right, and the tax we're given, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
you said that these guys they have an issue, right, which is drop offs, and
Yeah.
they gave us data to look at, they gave us
Yeah.
what they were doing, what industry benchmark is like, so that we can actually have an insight to, how they actually compare to industry benchmark and if they are doing something right or if they're doing something wrong. And then looking at the data that was provided to us, we could see that these guys, the one of the main issue they had was the drop off. People were not actually trying the product, right? With the other things, with LTV, how much you're spending to acquire a customer, it was actually good if you compare it to industry benchmark as to what data was provided to us, right? And we felt like, okay, what was the quickest thing to do for these guys to make sure that, okay, we solve the issue that we have at hand, which is these guys, when people that are coming to the site, we're not converting, right? Looking that we already
Mm-hmm.
have other data about industry benchmark, we could see they provided it to us. So I feel like where we came from, what our thoughts were, there was no need to now go and see what other people are doing because we already have a problem at hand, which is that these guys are coming to the site. We don't have issues even letting them come to our website. They are coming. Now the problem is that they're not even trying it. So what might be the issue? That's why we now tested two things. We now said, okay, let's try two things. Let's try, the landing page. Let's try to work on either scarcity, which is cognitive bias for these guys to see, okay, if scarcity will make them want to, like, this is going to end soon. Are they going to take action? Or saying that social proof, let them see other people doing it. You get? So that's why we tested those two variables. Not that we didn't want to go and check what other people were doing or everything. We just knew that at what we are doing at the moment, the issue with what Scale Up was doing was that people were not converting. That's just the problem that they had. And we felt like trying those two variables. Now, when we try the two variables and see that, okay, this is the result for this, are we getting more people? Are we getting more people convert? Then we can now, further diagnose what was given to us. But based on the task that was given to us, that was like what we felt like, we're supposed to do for them to help them convert more, because that was the main issue that they were facing.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Also, the fact that the main issue highlighted here is the drop off issue. Why I mentioned that is to also see, are you the first person having the problem? Definitely not. Have there been any other business similar to Scale Up that also face the same issue? Are there available resources or data that you can see on how publicly available data that you can see on how they fixed it? Also, if there is drop off, most times people first go and look at the audience. That's like the first thing. Like if the audience are dropping off, look at the audience, and then if the audience is perfectly right for the product, then you can start looking beyond. But the first thing is always looking at who are these people visiting, where is the traffic coming from, do they fit the TA that you are looking for. After that, you can now start looking at every other thing to sort it out. Why I mention that is because most likely whatever drop off anybody is experiencing, it's not the first time, and there have been people that experienced it. So if there are like publicly available information or data, you can see that, oh, there's a case study of a particular company that solved the drop off using this XYZ. It's also good to mention to give your, so you're not just, you didn't just limit yourself to, will be provided this data, will be provided with this problem. You also went a step further to cite an example of, oh, this company had this issue and this was how they solved them. And we also looked at it via this route. So it's more of just going deeper than what you've been given and see, okay, have there been anybody or any company that experienced this kind of thing? Are there solutions that worked for them? Are there some of those things that we can borrow from or even try and see if it works or not? But yeah, that's why I highlighted that. So it's not, I'm not saying um you didn't do well by sticking to what you're given. I'm also saying that the problem of drop off is like almost most companies or products have faced. And if there are available information online on how they overcome it, you can also cite that and say XYZ. That shows that, oh, you've gone like way and beyond to also find out what has worked for others in the past. So yeah, that's, but thank you very much, Daniel and Chisom.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much
guys.
for your feedback.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Do you guys remember the example I gave you of workforce group when we're seeing that huge drop off on the website? Can you guys remember?
Yes,
Anyway,
I remember.
so one of the things that you understand is for you to even, before you even start to like say, you know what, let's just do a redesign, you need to understand why that is happening. That's why is where the issue is. So, and why means are the right people coming? Are the, if the right people are coming, right, why are they not proceeding? B, if the right people are coming but they're not proceeding, what will you do? Which is where your redesign comes in, right? But if the wrong people are coming, how do you get them to leave so that the right people see exactly what you do? And I told you what we did then. So apart from just redesigning website, we needed to understand exactly where people come in. We realized that, okay, fine, it was job seekers. So how do we make sure that job seekers leave the website immediately they come? Put a button that says, okay, go to, if you're looking for a job, go to so and so place. Which is why those things are important. Like the fact that they are coming does not mean that they are right for the platform. They might be the wrong people. And that is why when they land, they don't bother proceeding further. So they've looked at the copy, they've thought, oh, maybe we are lying, and then they land and then they realize that, oh, it's a wrong fit, and then they leave. So you have to first understand that, okay, fine, how do we even get the right people, or are the right people coming? The right people are coming, why they're not proceeding? If the right people are not coming, how do we get the wrong people to stop coming or to leave immediately so that the right people can see road? So I hope it clears up my point about this thing.
So so what you're perfect. Just that it's also in our slides, we talked about the ad targeting too. We spoke about all the causes, all the reasons why this might be happening, drop might be happening. But then we
Yeah,
now decided to first test the landing page. That was just yes.
I
So
remember.
that's
I
just
remember I
us
saw
trying to
that.
say, okay, we actually did. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Balu.
All right,
Thank you
no
for the
problem. All right, no problem. Group two, Aaron. Who's going next?
Oh, am I doing one that can't hear anything anymore?
Let me ask who is going next.
Okay, great. I missed that for a minute. So yeah, who's going next? I will be sharing my screen and then we are going to go over the picker wheel again and then we'll know who's going next. And in the meantime, please let's stick to 10 minutes. It's very important. And then just like we noticed, it's also part of our criteria as well for the presentation. Achievers has gone, so we have erudites and highlights, not the best. So Erudite Agency is next. Hi, Erudite, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Victor speaking. I will be leading the presentation for Erudites, but I believe all my team members are available to answer questions. Please, can you give me a moment to share my screen before the timer starts?
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, I hope you can all see my screen. Right, okay. Let me see if I can just... Okay. I hope you can all see my screen. All right, let's
Yes, we can
go.
hear.
Okay, let's go now. So for us at Erudites, our goal was to, let me just go straight to it. We started by analyzing the problem. First of all, looking at what the company is. So Scale Up Tech is a B2B SaaS company offering automation tools. And the company is experiencing declining customer acquisition. So conversion rates across critical points are below industry benchmarks. And our goal at Erudite Agency was to come up with short and long-term solutions to get those numbers back up, right? And we started by analyzing the funnel. This is just a spreadsheet of some of the things we did to analyze the funnel, see where we are performing and underperforming versus industry standards. So we look at spend, especially to look at the best performing channels and underperforming channels, trying to also see what channels we can focus on, right? Over versus the current ones. So from analysis, the performance data showed that the biggest drop-off points were from visitors to leads and from leads to free trials. And for our acquisition channels, the underperforming channels were direct traffic and social media. We also saw that we are underperforming industry benchmarks across the following metrics. That's landing page conversion rates, trial conversion rates, and that leads to trial conversion rate and trial to paid conversion rates, right? And so our approach was to find a way, propose experiments and goals, and tactics and solutions to fix this. So, but from some of the key insights we realized was that when we did onboard customers from trial to paid customers, the LTV, industry matching churn rate, and the average lifetime value showed that the problems were not product based. That is, in the sense that scale up's problems were not issues with the product. That's why we were not acquiring new customers. We also realized that our low landing conversion rates showed that we didn't do enough to address maybe customer concerns. We didn't. It showed a clear messaging issue in our marketing efforts. Then the other thing we realized was that there is an opportunity in referrals. It was our cheapest acquisition channel. So word of mouth and strong partnerships were a good way to onboard customers into scale up. Were a cheap way rather to onboard customers for scale up tech. So those were three of our key insights. And with these key insights, we decided to move up and now optimize our funnel and make data-backed recommendations, right? So for the first recommendation, we wanted to improve our landing page conversion rates. That's where we saw the biggest drop-offs. Like Daniel said, it's the same data, 95%, right? And so we proposed a series of experiments whose sole goal was to improve our landing page conversion rates. So for example, we decided to include statistics of productivity improvements in the hero copy of our landing page that is leveraging social proof. So, for example, showing that other companies are experiencing an 80% growth, then making the CTA button more prominent, just tiny tweaks we could do, then tailoring the landing page based on the customer segment. One of the information we didn't have clarity on and we would like to bring up with Scale Up Tech at our subsequent meeting or discovery call is more clarity on what the automation tools are for example. So looking at one other company we looked at was ClickUp, right? And we know what their automation tools are, what they are trying to optimize for. So if we had more of that information, we will now be able to tailor the landing page based on the customer segment. So for example, when we say workflow, there are CRM workflows, there are finance workflows, and our landing page can now be tailored based on each of these workflows, right? Additionally, we wanted to show our free trial options in the hero section as under test, then a timed free trial option also as under test, then timed discounts at the pricing section. So letting customers know that if they onboard today or within the next few days, they will have a discount over their next payment period will be discounted. Then the next recommendation we proposed was SEO investment. So data showed that when we allocated 10% or more of our budget to SEO, the channel yielded about 50% more customers. So this is what we are currently spending, the spend ratio at the beginning. With paid ads, we are spending about 76% on paid ads, and we are getting about 60% of our customers from there. We decided to increase SEO spend from 10% to about 20%, and the percentage of customers we got there increased greatly, and it even outbeats it out. So if you come back to our slides, we showed it here. So our paid customers from SEO moved from 20 to 40, and our total customers moved from 101 to 113 when we had increased our spend on SEO by 10%. We also saw that we didn't lose too many customers from reducing our paid ads budget, right? Moving on, our recommendation 3 was to improve the onboarding flow. For us, onboarding is not just that singular action of filling in their email and signing up. It's a sequence that begins when they start that sign up till their first few days using the product, right? And so we also proposed different onboarding improvements. So customer segmentation, right? A job to be done and interest section. This is something a lot of products do. Canva is not a competitor of ours, but they asked this question at the beginning. Is one of the things that drove this insight. What type of company do you work at? Are you a student? Is this for an organization? Is this for a business? Then they also ask you, do you want to edit videos and do all those kind of things? It's also something similar to what ClickUp does. What do you want to use this product for? So this will refine and personalize the emails we send later on, and also improve the customer's experience. And that led to our next suggestion of an email sequence, an education email sequence, and social proof. So when customers are segmented properly, we are not just educating them broadly on all the product does, but on the specific workflow that we are improving for them. So if they came for our finance workflows, our email sequence will show them, oh, this is how to use the finance workflows better and help them get to that aha moment faster. Same as our guided product tours. We want to push them so that within their first few days, they start seeing value from the product, increasing the possibility of them moving from trial customers to paid customers. And finally, some of our easy to implement wins were a referral program. We also did some calculations for that, for the referral experiment. And based on the assumptions we made, we are looking at 35 new customers through referral across all our cycles. We also plan to do a lead nurturing and retargeting campaign, the landing page optimizations that we've spoken about. Then our learning so far, we'll use it to run a win back series, bring back inactive customers that have not used the trial period before. And finally, for long-term improvements, we are proposing lifetime value emails, strong segmentation. But for the lifetime value emails, we are trying to just explain to them, oh, maybe at the end of every quarter, we can say, do you know you've saved out, or you spent 6% more time, or you saved 10 hours less, you spend 10 hours less doing these simple automation tasks because of scale-ups products. So these were some of the things that we believe will highlight our value to our customers better. Because one thing we realized was our messaging and showing value to customers is something we are not doing well enough, right? And so our lifetime value emails, personal milestone emails to form that strong emotional attachment and strong segmentation, right? And we know the strong segmentation is not an easy fix. It will take a lot of engineering efforts to do that. That is including a job to be done process in the onboarding flow. But we know over the long run, it will help us improve message targeting and ultimately conversion. Finally, our conclusions. So we will want to do an ICP sprint to solidify our positioning with ClickUp. So who is their ideal customer? How do we speak their language? What do they want to hear from us? And how do we say it better? And to complement our SEO investment, we want access to their highest performing blog posts to gain insights from that, see what works for them, and see how we can now scale it, either by maybe paying more writers to provide content for us, or just adding more flavor to our blog posts to ensure that we are giving our customers real value. So that's it from our end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Victor. Yeah, so you're right on time. Let me just stop. You're right on time. Thank you so much. I was expecting an applause from those in your group and even those outside of your group. That was a very wonderful presentation. Without further ado, I'll just be giving it right back to the panelists. If you have any question or needed clarity at any point, over to you.
Okay, I went the first time, so maybe Everest can go first this time.
Okay, no problem, Pelumi. Well done, Victor. This is very insightful. First thing, some of the things I want to highlight and commend is the fact that you cited many examples. You also, which is what I usually look out for demo days. I look out for people that give life to the product and not make it sound like an abstract thing that is not a reality. So citing examples of companies, citing example of different implementations that have been done, or sort of like use case that other companies have done and why you want to use them, brought life to the presentation. So well done. Second thing is your time management was also on point. So that I'm going to give. And you, I think, also made sure that whatever information we are looking for is contained in the slide, but at the same time, you're able to articulate your thoughts and summarize every thought on the slide without having to like depend solely on it. So it felt like, yeah, you really work at scale up, and you know exactly what you're talking about. So I like that you brought life to the presentation.
Thank you.
Also, few things I also want to mention. I think the first one, I think at the beginning of your presentation was when you gave an example and you said, "Oh, this is a cheaper way for acquiring customers." Just key times. Most times when you're making presentation to decision makers or those in the business world, it's also good to use terms that shows a bit of business insight. So instead of just saying that there are cheaper ways, you can say there are cost effective ways. In that way, it speaks directly to whoever you are talking to, that okay, this person is understand how the marketing and business world works. You might mean the same thing, but um in terms of how they receive it might look like, oh, this is not up to the standard. So yeah, those little terms like saying something is more cost effective and not cheap, all of those things really matter. Also present you more like an expert and not just a regular person that came up with this. So you have like insights, and it projects you better basically. So yeah, so the other question I want to ask is, when you're I want to ask this question before I make the comment. When you mentioned your first recommendation, part of the things you mentioned was CRM, CRM and workflow and all. You you didn't mention exactly what examples of CRM or what difference the new CRM or the new workflows you are going to include, what would they be? So you said you are going to review this, you are going to check their workflow, you are going to check their CRM, you are going to check this, but you didn't mention exactly what, or example, I say, oh, we are going to recommend something like XYZ because of XYZ. So I'm just giving you opportunity to clarify that before I make the comment.
Okay, so I believe is as part of the onboarding segment, right?
Yeah.
So for us here, when we are talking about customer segmentation, one of the tools we were shown in detail throughout the Accelerator program was Engage, and I believe we'll be able to use Engage as the CRM tool to run this. But what we are trying to say explicitly here in the customer segmentation is we want to define customer segments based on their desired workflow automation. So what workflow do they want to automate? We'll now segment them based on that. So for us at Erudite, we know Scale Up offers different workflow automation tools, some for finance people, some that need to automate their CRM tools, some that just want to automate their productivity workflows. And so our goal is to segment them based on that final thing, that final value they are trying to get from Scale Up. So that we are not telling them, oh, if they just came to improve their productivity, we're not telling them, okay, we'll help you improve your finance and how much you spend on doing that in finance. Meanwhile, they came to see how much faster they could build products and ship products, right? So the same thing for the CRM tools. If we are trying to help them automate how they reach out to customers and manage that, we don't want to be telling them, oh, we can help you ship products faster. So our customer segmentation and the email marketing process work hand in hand to show customers how, okay, this is what you want to do. This is how to get the best of it on Scale Up. And that's the summary of it.
Sorry, I didn't know I was missing. Yeah, okay, thanks for clarifying. Also, when it comes to your email sequencing, you mentioned some things that kind of reminds me of basically gamification. When you say, "Oh, do you know you've done this?" I think there are different apps that do it. I know the product that I know that do it very well is Duolingo. So it has lots of gamification to tell you what you've achieved, what you can achieve, what you've missed, and what you haven't done or what you're expected to do. So I like that you mentioned it, but my only issue with that was that you mentioned it as part of your LTV emails where you said, oh, we're going to send the email to tell you you've saved so and so points, or you've saved so and so hours of work because you use XYZ automations. Rather than having it in an email, you can just gamify it and don't have to be email. So people can get notification on their web app or even their app itself, if there's an app for it, and say, oh, you've achieved this, oh, you've achieved that. Reason why I'm saying this is because most times emails, I think everyone, me, obviously, you must have seen it. When you send out email and you send out push notification, maybe use Firebase to send out push notification and you send out email. If you check both, push always have more open than emails. Why? Because naturally, push notification is short and straightforward. It saves people time and they are most likely going to grab it and tap on it and say it. But for email, they have to click, they have to go to their email app and read. So my own comment here is, if you are bringing in gamification in that sense, in terms of you want to tell them milestones, you want to tell them things they've achieved, how well they are doing, or what possibilities they can still do with scale up. Not saying you shouldn't use email, but you pair it up with more of notifications because that gets consumed faster than email. In
No,
all, the presentation is very good, straight to the point, and also your research did well. I was expecting a second person. Were you the only one? Are you the only one presenting for your group?
I'm the only one presenting, but I think they are also available for further questions.
Oh,
But
okay.
to quickly speak on this thing that you just mentioned, I think we'll take note of that when for any subsequent presentation we have on scale up. But
Yeah.
the model we are following for those lifetime value emails was the Grammarly model. They typically send weekly emails to show you how many words you reviewed or corrected with Grammarly that week. But I think it would be best to use your advice of sending it through push notifications and making it more regular instead of once a quarter.
Yeah, that works. Anyway, that's all from me. Pelumi, over to you. But well done, guys.
Thank you.
Number one, there's nothing stopping you from using both. And of course, my reason being that, yes, I definitely open those Grammarly emails because they're always telling me if my tone has changed and all of that. They're like, oh, and the something percentile you kicked us this week. It's so yeah. But of course, imagine when that email is sent, there's also maybe like a follow-up push notification,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely very important. Um, I wanted to ask a question, but let's go back to your funnel analysis again.
Okay.
Something I thought I heard, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, so um no, go back, okay.
Is sorry, let
Okay.
me
So okay. Aha. So number one, definitely the experiments, very, very necessary. Then also our 7 different experiments. I wanted to be sure I saw that because um then go back up a bit.
okay, is it to where we show the SEO spend or
Wait, come back down a bit. Yeah, that one. Okay, so so underperforming industry benchmarks. Okay, so one of the things that okay, yeah, this is the first part. Um, go back to the SEO paid
okay.
ads part. Okay, so current spend ratio. Okay, as usual, paid ads will definitely give you more. SEO would definitely be more cost effective. But so I didn't see your average acquisition cost and your average ROI.
Okay, so let me open. We didn't actually run the ROI calculations. I think for us, we didn't actually run the ROI calculations.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I wanted to be sure that did I miss it or something. So let's do this. So Everest has definitely said like a bit of some of the things that I had in mind. But one of the things you also want to have at the back of your mind is while your market research was on point, your creativity, coordination, and your analysis, you need to be able to show that you did the actual work on it, and that's where the data comes in. So, oh, this is the average CAC on this. We're hoping that this work would drop this for that, and we'll get these better results.
Yeah.
But now we're just saying the percentages. We don't know what the actual CAC is. We don't know what the ROI is. So yes, while we think your effort and all of that will get better results, we do not have like a start off point to look at it from. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I think we,
So
we, we could have gotten that data from Excel sheets, but I don't think we got that far in our analysis.
yeah. All right, no problem. Those are the only things from me, but generally, I think it made sense. So,
Thank you.
um, Group 3, are you ready?
Hi, it's group 1. Yes, I'm ready.
Awesome. Let's get this show on the road.
Okay. Okay, hi, my name is Maria, and I'll be speaking on behalf, I'll be representing group 1, agenda. So basically, I mean, there's no need to go into the case study since, I mean, we already have an idea, but in summary, it's about Scale Up Tech. It's a B2B company that offers workflow automation for businesses, especially mid-sized businesses. And from the case study, we're able to identify that, I mean, looking at this first chart, we can see that there's a big gap between the visitor to leads and 4.5% conversion rates. You would assume that, I mean, looking at this chart, we already see the problem is. However, from the database shared, or from the brief shared, we also were given the benchmark, which we can see from the second chart that the visitors to lead had a difference of 1.5%, which we would, I mean, against the first chart, that we assume that the major problem is the channel. We can see from the second chart that, okay, the visitor to leads, okay, it's within minus 1.5 is still variable. But we also notice that for the trial to paid, there is a very high difference, which is minus 10% compared to 30%, which is the average benchmark. From the case study also shared, there were a couple of metrics that were shared with us. And I will not spend too much time here because most of the metrics were within industry benchmark. And but we're able to also get the LTV to CAC ratio using the case study shared. And from the LTV to CAC ratio, that's for the average, it's 4.5 to 1 to 1. That means for every $1 spent, we're getting 4.5 value. So if we improve the CAC, we can as well just improve the overall LTV to CAC ratio. Also, I mean, also the churn rates, the revenue per, the LTV, the monthly ad spend, everything is still within acceptable range. So moving over to the channel performance breakdown or channel performance review, we can see from the first chart that when it comes to distribution per channel, paid ads had the highest. And also when it comes to total the distribution for visitors, total visitors per channel, paid ad actually had the highest percentage. Comparing it to the total paying customer, paid ad to had the highest. I mean, looking at these two charts, you just see that, okay, the conversion rate is actually consistent amongst both. When I mean conversion rate, I'm talking about from visitor to paying customer. It's consistent, 60 to 60.4%. That's still, I mean, understandable. Like it shows that the conversion rate is still within reasonable range. This table also emphasizes my point. If you look at the conversion rates column, we see that there's a 0.4, 0.14, between 0.12 to 0.14, which means that between all the channels, there's a consistent conversion rate. So the problem is not the conversion rate for the channels, because all the channels are actually providing the effective conversion rate according to what the input is equating to the output. So, but looking at the CAC, you would see that referrals/partnership had $180, which is the lowest, and paid ad had 615. Based on this, we can say, okay, the most effective is referral slash partnership. However, when we look further into the ROI, which we'll be using the LTV to CAC, it shows that for every $1 spent in referral slash partnership, we're getting $14 back for referral and partnership, unlike paid ads that for every $1 spent, we're getting $4 back, which is very, very poor when it comes to ROI. And for this, we're able to rank these we're able to rank referral slash partnership as the most efficient, and paid ads as the least efficient. And also another thing to add is, naturally, customers coming from referral and partnership and also organic platforms like search and blogs, they are usually high quality because they have high intent, in the sense that for you to go and search for a certain thing, it means that you are actually interested in it, than you just sitting down in your parlor and all of a sudden you're seeing an ad in your front. So because of that, and also same goes with referral and partnership. For referral and partnership, there's a lot of trust that goes into communicating something. For me to be able to refer a platform, it means I trust the platform. So there's always, like I mentioned, there's always high intent that comes with referral and partnership, and as well as organic SEO and blogs. So now moving to the key insights and root causes. We're able to categorize it. We're able to mention a couple of insights. One of them is most website visitors aren't the right audience to convert. And how did we come up with this information? We came up with it from the first chart. We showed 4.5% conversion rates, which is moderately low. And we're also able to identify the key root causes as over-reliance on paid ads. Because, I mean, we're spending about 60% of our spend on paid ads. So obviously, there will be, and paid ads is actually not, the conversion of paid ads is very low. So, I mean, that would also contribute to this over-relying on paid ads. Then another key root cause is poor targeting and unclear messaging in ads, resulting to low intent visitors. Another, so moving on to the next one, qualified leads are not moving to trial. So, I mean, we could see that from our 15%, yes, which is still significantly low. So, and we link that to possible weak and delayed lead nurturing. And I'm going to even emphasize more on the timed follow-up, because you might even have a good nurturing process, but however, how timely is your lead nurturing process? Because people tend to lose interest sometimes if you're not timely. Disconnects leads and disconnects between lead form and trial offer messaging. Another major issue is friction during trial sign up. Low quality leads from high volume paid channel. Like I mentioned earlier, since 60% of the traffic, 60% of the spend is from paid ads, and the chances that there might be low quality leads from it. Trial feels difficult and doesn't show enough value. This is severely high, severely low, because we noticed it from the first chart, and the root causes we're able to identify could be possible low product stickiness, trial not experiencing value, so they're not seeing the value in the products yet. Mixed aligned expectations between the trial offer and real product experience. What they were experiencing in trial offer is probably what we informed them that would be the product offering when they become customers. Then lack of human follow-up because of the nature of product, which is B2B. There will be need for human touch, and I'll speak more into that in my subsequent slide. Then lastly, like I mentioned also, users from organic channels are high intent and high value. So we noticed that from the higher ROI on organic channels. These are our recommendations, and based on the priorities, the first one which I would recommend that we start with is the trial to paid bottleneck. The reason why is it is a business impact issue. Unlike visitors to lead, so we have to prioritize this. That is our priority, because what we need to do is we have to make them have that aha moments. And how do we want to do this? We want to do this by offering a time-sensitive, by providing a time-sensitive offer, like upgrade before day 14 and save 20%. The cognitive bias is going to be the timing, the time sensitivity of this offer. Secondly, like I mentioned also, is there's an issue. There could be an issue based on the nature of the product. There can be an issue with the sales handoff process to sales. So if you can automate that process, where for every trial that comes in, and we've already identified them as high value customers, it can automatically, like they can automatically get the nudge and a salesperson to be assigned to a salesperson. Also, these are experiments showing for the first one, which is time sensitive offer. So for A/B test, we will have an A/B testing comparing the time sensitive offer with in-app checklist. So in-app checklist in the sense that if there are 5 processes or 5 levels of activation, like 5 events, for every event there's a checklist that shows, okay, you've done this. So it's to help customers know the next steps. And another reason, just before I go straight to ending this, another reason why we should actually focus on trial to paid bottleneck is because of the monthly recurring revenue. It was identified as, the last one was $10,605, and the conversion rate from trial to paying customer was 20%. If we can increase it even by 5%, like what I mean is, if we can improve our trial to paying by 5%, paying customer by conversion rate by 5%, it will impact highly, even as much as 25% on our monthly recurring revenue. And I'm just going to skim through the others. Reallocate budget to efficient channels. So I would recommend we use majority of our marketing budgets to the organic, in quotes, because organic channels, and use the remaining for the inorganic channels. CAC rationale, let me just go straight to the point. And then also we measure the attribution rate for each channels. And I would know an improvement in our reallocation of budget is we'll notice an increase in our month-to-month visitor volume to paid per these channels, strengthen lead nurturing to improve lead to trial conversion. That would also involve requiring us improving our lifecycle marketing. So like I mentioned, it has to be timely, it has to it has to show the value for each step or for each event that we want them to take. And lastly, optimize top of channel funnel conversion, which, like I mentioned, is my least priority. Which we also notice from the 4.5 conversion that shows that there's a possibility that our copy is not compelling, our CTA is not clear, and these are also the success metrics. Thank you, and these are my team members. Thank you, guys. That'll be all for my end. Questions, please.
Yeah, Maria, you are above the time limit with 3 minutes. But yeah, thank you for the wonderful presentation. Over to the panelists.
Pelumi, you want to go first?
Okay. I like the flow. It was smooth. It was also really numbers heavy, which is one of the things that it made it, so to put it in a way that works, it makes sense in the way you can look at the numbers and say, you know what, I can understand the numbers and basically be able to say, this works. So yes, in that form, it makes a lot of sense. The CAC would have been great to see, but it seems like everybody's missing that. But apart from that, I think you definitely did a good job. It was something that it was insightful. It was a lot of data. It was like, and this is the thing with data, and I think I told you in one of my classes, right? Like when it's easy to see how you arrived at something, it makes it an easier sell to whoever you're presenting it to say, oh yes, this is how we got here. This is exactly the numbers. This is how this works and all of that. And then, because for those of you that showed numbers, I looked at the numbers and did my own small calculation while looking at it, which was I caught the average and something from the first group that presented. So, but I'm glad that, this is something that definitely, it was really great. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I remember saying this. I didn't see the average though, and I think that was the part that. So, but yeah, basically, I think you guys did a great job. There is always room for improvement, and I think you saw that by yourself. So please, for some of the feedback that we've given to you, whether it's for your group in particular or for another group, when next you're having presentations like this, I would really love that you incorporate it as well, because all of those things help. They all help, and I think you definitely learn a lot from all of them. I think I don't have any specific change that you could have done differently, but I think you were really great. Thanks.
Thank you, Pelumi.
All right, thanks. Believe me, you said it all. And for me, and I think I said this in different sections we've had, is that if you're in marketing, you should embrace data. And for me personally, data is the easiest way to communicate in marketing. You can say everything you want to say, but if you're not backing it up with numbers, is not going to fly. So for this group, this is really well done. Maria, well done, and your entire group. I'm tempted to ask if anybody in your group work in either performance marketing or data itself.
Or agency.
Or agency, right? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Maria, please.
This looks like an actual agency's work.
No, but I mean, I'm in product marketing, so I'm already in product marketing, so I
Okay.
understand the importance.
Oh, makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're in product marketing, so yeah, we are in the same group. So that makes sense. So I'm really impressed with this, and I like how not just about saying this is what happened and this is what happened, but being able to visualize it and present it. Also, I know when Victor presented, it's also good to highlight when people get things right. And I'm also going to mention Maria, your presentation was right. It was you presented with the right, you articulated it well, but you also used the right terms, the business terms that are needed in this kind of presentation. So you really did well. Your presentation generally, I'm looking at the assessment guide, and I'm looking at the scores, and I'm like, okay, this is really nice. And I see Pelumi also do the same thing. So one thing that stood out for me, your time management, you ran over. Esther mentioned by 3 minutes, but personally, I wanted to just ignore it, but I had to still score it because I felt like I didn't even notice that it was 3 minutes more, and I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have mind, but that was really well done. So let me highlight a few things. First thing first, I like people that don't just use industry terms for the sake of it. So there are too many buzzwords in marketing. Personally, I don't like it. I don't like when people are making conversations and everything is all about funnel, CPMs, CAC, all of that. I don't like it, especially in presentation format. However, I love the fact that for you guys, you made it make sense. So, for instance, even if I'm not a product marketing expert and I see this presentation, I could understand what each time you people are saying meant, and I could see the numbers and be able to put it together and make sense of it and make conclusion by myself. So highlighting those things and not just throwing buzzwords for the sake of buzzwords actually is brilliant. Your presentation, your creativity, very nice and insightful. And I'm trying not to go on and on because once you have data graphs, it's easy to convince me because then I don't need to read too much text. And I remember when I was still in uni and we used to do like debates. There's something I always say. I always say like statistics is like a mini skirt. It is short enough to, arise your curiosity, but also long enough to cover what needs to be covered. If you take that quote in whatever you're doing in marketing, you will excel because now even when you don't have enough, but you've shown enough numbers to drive curiosity, people want more. They want to know more. So rather than just not showing numbers or stats at all. So whenever you show stats, let it be at that. That is what stats is supposed to do. That's what data is supposed to do. It's supposed to give you insights for you to want more, and supposed to give you enough insight not to tell you everything. So I think with that, you guys really did well. So well done. Esther, I have to stop here so that we don't continue. Well done, guys. Team Elite, well done to all of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much, Everest. I think Polumi dropped like a follow-up feedback that shows with your ROI in percentage. I guess you just wanted to add that to the previous feedback he gave. Yeah, do we have any feedback? Do we have any follow-up
Yeah, so
question? Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. I wasn't sure if I was unmuted. So one of the things, because this is supposed to be a learning curve for everybody. Number one, I think the first thing you should do is you guys should share slides with each other, right? Very, very necessary. So it would help you put more context to the feedback that we've given. If we're to build a perfect slide from everything that has happened, all the different slides that we've seen here today, right? It will be a combination of Team Elite and Erudite Agency slide with the data part of Team Achievers, what's it called? The part where they did like the breakdown with the data. So that would be what a perfect slide would look like. Like it would, so those breakdowns, the funnel from Team Elite, when I saw that funnel drawing, I was like, damn, this guy is going to collect my perfect score. But yeah, you get the point. So get all the different slides, look at them, learn from them, and you definitely kick ass with it.
Yeah, thank you so much for me. Do you have any feedback or questions from the learners themselves?
Hold on,
Okay.
Esther. Just before I go to the learner, I just want to add to what Pelumi said. And this is beyond your presentation. Everyone did amazingly well, but I also want us to not be individualistic in this world of marketing. Collaborate. Pelumi is on this call. Pelumi knows there has been, when I was CMO at a fintech company, I've had to call Pelumi. Pelumi, if you remember, Pelumi
Yeah.
and yeah, I have had to reach out to them and say, guys, this is what we are trying to achieve, and I know you have expertise in this when it comes to performance and tracking. Can you help us do it? So what I'm trying to say is don't shut yourself out, collaborate, and no one is an island. So looking at each of these three presentations, there are some that have strength in data, some have strength in the presentation, some have strength in their recommendation, including workflows. So if you collaborate well in the industry, even at the end of this program, keep in touch, reach out to Pelumi, myself, always collaborate. And I also want to highlight this. Nothing gives me more joy when I see a request on LinkedIn or I'm trying to connect to someone on LinkedIn and I see that they're already connected to someone in the marketing world that I know. It makes things easier. I know, okay, for you to be connected to Pelumi, okay, you should know something about marketing. So you should be like have some know-how in the industry. So please don't be an island. Collaborate, reach out. Everyone have their strengths and their weaknesses. Personally, for me, I'm okay with data crunching, marketing numbers, and in-app stuff. But at the end of the day, I also know that there are people that are better in like performance and CRM. And if I need help, I can always reach out and say, guys, can you look at this for me, or how can we do this? So please, one of the things you should take home today is collaboration is key. Make sure you keep in touch and connect with people in the industry. In that way, you're able to like be a well-rounded marketing expert. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Also, based off of that, one of the things that you learn over time, like, is that in the beginning when you're starting out, you can get jobs by simply applying, and they look at you, they say, "Oh yeah, you're good at this and all of that." But as you go higher up in your career, there are a lot of vacancies that will never see the light of day. It's the people that know you and know that you can do those things that would end up referring you to those roles and those jobs, such that you end up seeing um, opportunities where you didn't think there were opportunities. So please, stay close to people, reach out, just be there, let them know that you also know your stuff and all of that. Actually, now that I think about it, apart from, I think the last time I actually like applied for a role and it wasn't like a recommendation or like a referral was either 2019 or 2020. Every other role that I worked on since then was by referral. Like, when we can do this thing, or oh, I know this. So, guys, keep in touch with people, even if you just say hello from time to time. So that's it from me. Questions from you guys?
Hi, this is Victor. I don't really have any questions per se. I just wanted to say I might reach out over the next few weeks because I think I said very at the very beginning before we started presentations, we are launching some stuff at work, and it's on my head, and sometimes, so I may reach out to both my classmates and our instructors just to get insights on their approach to different things. So just putting it out there now.
Thanks for sharing, Victor.
No problem.
Yeah, so as regards the LinkedIn profile, if you check our LMS, meet your facilitators, you see all the details you need to know concerning especially LinkedIn profile concerning our facilitators. You might want to reach out, you might want to check there. And if you do not, you can just reach out to me, then I would provide that. So every of our facilitators, yes, we always provide their LinkedIn. And then also for those that are open to it, they also share. I think Palumi has once shared his email address that you can reach out to him as well. So yeah, I think this is where we'll ask.
Sorry, Esther. I wanted
Yes, and
to ask if it was possible to have a general group chat, like a platform where, we can easily just reach out to people and everybody's just in one place.
oh yes, there is a general channel. I don't know, Chisom mistakenly sent a voice note to it, but yeah, I'm going to highlight it. I'll just say hi.
All right then.
There is already a community, so automatically the community creates a general channel for everybody. So you might just want to join, but I'll just say hi. You might want to join.
All right,
So
thank you.
mistakenly sent, yeah. And then yeah, also the Slack channel is also a general channel. You can also make use of that as well. So, any question, feedback, comment, clarity, whatsoever, whatever it is, while we're still trying to work around that. So in the next few weeks, or let me just say congratulations to us. At least the journey of 8 weeks, it's here already where we have to drag us every weekend. So yeah, our calendar is now open where you can now go back to our one. Our calendar is now free. Yeah, I know, yeah, how it has been a whole lot. Some of us, we have to go through thick and thin. I was seeing a lot of hurdles on our WhatsApp. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't join. I have a week load of work, just like what Victor just shared. Everything's on my head. We have those that they mentioned they were in admission in the hospital. I know how that can be, especially when you have to juggle work. You have to juggle this, and you have to juggle meetings as well. So for them we have to pray. They get well soon. So yeah, it's a whole lot for the last 8 weeks. I would, or let me say, you bear with me of how tense it has been, how tense it has been. Sometimes come from church on Sundays, come straight to meetings like this. You ask questions, and some of our facilitators that will throw us questions, throw us metrics, data, and all. I remember our chief of say, oh, somebody mentioned that I thought I left math. But yeah, am I again? So yeah, congratulations to us. So what happens after this? So for the next we have 1 week window. So after this, you might just rest, take a break. In fact, maybe for also for you, just shut off your alarm. That always remind you there's class. I think somebody made mention of that. So then for I think from Monday to next weekend, um the LMS portal for assessment will be opened. So this is where you attempt, I think, 25 to 30 questions on everything we've done so far from the very beginning till the very end. So there's going to be random questions on it, and then it's going to be set up in the LMS. So I'm going to inform us when the LMS is open, but just expect to be open on Monday. So for this weekend, just relax. On Monday is going to be open. So we have the option from Monday till the next weekend for you to attempt the question. So highlight is Monday, highlight is Wednesday. Whenever you have the time, just attempt the question. And then you just have 2 tries, 2 attempts for you to make on those questions. And then you just have 80% for you to be able to get the 80% is a pass mark for you to be awarded the certificate. So yeah, after this certification, but yeah, there's a gateway of assessment that you must pass. Like I mentioned, 80% on just 2 tries. And then yeah, it's going to be opened on Monday. And then also I've shared it on our email and I'll be sharing it on our WhatsApp group. There is a tally form. You just have to assess everything that have happened in the bootcamp so far. You assess the time, you assess everything. which facilitator stood out for you? Which class do you think it would be better if we have it, even if we have it as a specialized class on its own, where we have maybe 4 weeks on that particular module, or and so on and so forth. Share your honest feedback. What worked well, what did not work well, what we should improve on. Study forward. Grade the LMS, grade the moderators, grade the timing, grade everything. Just put it on. I'll be sharing, I've shared it, but I'll be sharing it again. We call it a gift called your feedback. This is what we use to implement on our subsequent meetings. So that is all for now. So yet again, if you have any questions, Uncle is here, and Everest has always been our panelist giving feedback. I'm sure you had the time with him and AI in product marketing, and also Pelumi, where we had series of sessions with Pelumi as well, ranging from, he really can't, but I know that, yeah, we've had series of sessions in that mostly has to do with data optimization and all. Yeah, any other feedback, comments, question? It's already 12:03 p.m. Let me stop live streaming. Questions, feedback, comments, want to say thank you, want to give a special shout out to somebody, this is where you do that. Anybody?